baby girl, I love you, or whatever. It's not you, it's me. Whatever the fuck you got to do. But the answer is to remove yourself from this thing, because it's not going to serve you in the long run.
Yeah.
But I think this is about chasing nothing in the long run. It's about chasing the immediate satisfaction.
And chasing the high right now.
It's not even the thing you're doing. It's not the cocaine, or it's not the vice. It's not the gambling. It's the fucking what it feels like taking your money out to go gamble. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Welcome to Above the Waves podcast.
Sobre las olas.
I'm your host, Tone Park. We got a very special episode for you today. You may know this guy as Ulysses' little big brother. Mr. Ochoa himself. Raulito, or as I like to say, Lito.
Welcome.
How we doing?
We get a special hose up.
Lito, Ochoa, Jr., hose up.
Hose up. And, of course, we got Mr. LJ, the man behind the camera today.
What's good?
So how we feeling today, guys?
Real good.
So it's the beginning of Latin History Month, right?
Yes, sir.
Is that what it is? Latin History Month?
I think it is. And
to start it off, we got the Mexican Independence Day. I was about to say Mexican Revolutionary War.
It's not Cinco de Mayo.
The actual one, September 16th, right? And likewise, on every September 16th around there, we get another Canelo fight.
Yes, sir, we did.
So we get Canelo Triple G Part 3. Did you guys watch this?
I did.
I watched part of it while driving. I don't suggest doing that, but
yeah, definitely don't do that.
Be safe.
Yes,
you weren't
sir.
driving though, right?
Not when I was watching it.
Exactly. So, I mean, the first fight I had Triple G winning.
So did I.
Second fight, close draw. I can see why I can see the Canelo thing, but I still thought Triple G won
too.
that one.
Yeah, I want to know your thoughts on the third though, because I didn't get to watch the whole thing. But
I'd say,
be honest.
I beg to differ. The second one, I believe Canelo won, given the idea that he really dictated the pace. He was coming forward. He fixed a lot of the flaws that I feel, played into the fact that he lost the first one. So, for those of you who don't really understand boxing, when you are in the ring, taking control of the center is a positive thing. What I mean by that is making sure that, your presence in the center of the ring isn't dictated by the other person. If you are, moving back, you're able to fight going backwards and things of that nature. I felt like Canelo was dictating the pace a lot better in the second fight than he did the first. Okay. And he was landing more of the devastating fights in that second fight. I think he did enough to win. Yeah,
so he had ring generalship.
Yep.
Right? So he did that. Triple G definitely had that first fight.
Yes, sir.
Had Canelo on the back foot the whole time. Second fight, Canelo came forward and he actually just boxed him in the middle of the ring. Mm-hmm. But Triple G is actually very skilled. Everyone just sees him as just a puncher. Mm-hmm. And he's an amazing athlete. I mean, decorated amateur career. He's amazing. So
hell of a chin too.
Probably the best chin ever. I've never seen Canelo hit anyone as hard as I've seen him.
Exactly.
Him. Even in this last fight, he hit him with overhand right. And Triple G looked fine. His feet were a little off, so he looked like he had to reorganize his feet. But once he did, he went back in.
Yeah.
Went back in it.
So who'd you get winning the third fight?
Canelo.
Okay.
Are you saying beforehand? Or
yeah, do you think
beforehand? My assessment, I think Tony shot me a text a couple of days before. He is, who you got, And I told him, if Triple G comes out the way he came out his previous two fights, I felt that he definitely was going to lose because, as Tony mentioned, a lot of people know Triple G as a brawler. Meaning not so technically sound as far as boxing is not going to make you miss all that much. However, he's going to overwhelm you with that pace that he fights with on the inside, and he's long enough with the good enough jab. He can knock people out with that jab. I felt that if he was going to box, he was gonna lose. Canelo is just the fresher fighter. He's younger. He's still more explosive. And
How old is
probably
Canelo?
Quicker. He's
32.
Oh, he's still young.
Yeah, so
Triple G's 40.
He's still young.
so their first fight, he was 27. Triple G was 35. Right?
No, Triple.
Yeah,
Yes,
35.
Yeah.
And then so they waited till Triple G got old. He's 35 now. Let's fight him. And then that's what happened the first fight. So then the second fight, Canelo got popped for steroids, eating Mexican
Tainted
beef.
meat.
Tainted beef.
I hate when that happens.
And then so then that fight got delayed a year, and hopefully Triple G's older now. And I still felt like Triple G still threw more punches. I think he might have still landed more punches as well.
And the third fight?
And the second fight.
Okay, got you.
And then in the third fight, I mean, Triple G's 40 years old. We kind of knew this going in. He was just going to be slower, especially how he looked against Murata and Derevchenko or whatever.
And in one of those fights,
Derevchenko.
he got stunned
I think
with a body punch.
the Derevchenko fight, yeah, he doesn't, his head's made of granite. His body's not. So, yeah. So anyhow, this fight, I went into it thinking Canelo would win. I thought that Triple G would probably do better, but he did do great the last 4 rounds.
Yeah. Once he turned it on.
Yeah. Once he decided to actually fight, it was actually a great fight, those last 4 rounds. If you just watch like the highlights of those 4 rounds, you don't know who won.
Okay.
Right? But
That
then,
wasn't the tail of the entire tape.
yeah, but then Canelo won like 7-8 rounds in a row in the middle. I think he won 2-8. He just won.
I think 3, you can maybe fight for 3. 3 rounds that Triple G maybe gave it to him. But yeah, as Tony's saying, he pretty much
That's like
swept
best
the
case
rest of the
scenario,
rounds.
but yeah, he
Yeah, but see, one thing people always forget is round 1. Right? So with Triple G, I thought he won round 1. And I think it was like that. I didn't see the actual scorecards after, but the fight itself, they only had Canelo winning by 2 rounds. So if you give Triple G the first round and the last 4 rounds, that's 5 rounds, even though he got dominated 7 rounds in a row where he didn't look like he even belonged there.
Yeah.
Right?
Boxing's interesting, man.
Yeah, because it's by round.
Yeah.
Now, if this was a 15-round fight, Canelo has this thing with the last few fights where he's just getting tired at the end.
Yeah, I see that too. I think he's kind of overcompensating for getting the knockout. He really wants to go ahead and knock out his opponent, which is cool. But I think when you have that kind of a preset intention going into that, you're not allocating your energy in multiple areas necessary to withhold or withstand an entirety of a fight.
When's the last time Canelo knocked somebody out?
Caleb Plant.
Oh,
So
that's
second
right.
to
That's
last
right.
fight.
Okay.
So last year,
Before that, what was? I remember that one. How about before that?
Billy Joe
knocked someone
Saunders.
out. Oh, he broke his face,
So he didn't knock him out.
and then he stopped that Russian
Kovalev.
guy. No,
Avni Yildirim,
yeah.
Okay.
his mandatory.
So
from
he has
Turkey.
some power then.
But they
right?
stopped the fight. It wasn't like a full-on knockout. He was just basically teeing off on the guy's head. So the last actual knockout was Kovalev about 2 years ago.
2.5, going on
Okay.
3
Yeah.
years.
So again,
At light heavyweight.
he's moving up in weight. So your punch, it has been carrying pretty well. So people are still afraid of his punch, but he doesn't have that like flash knockout like he did at 154.
Yeah.
And that's what happens as you get
But I
bigger.
think that's a clear, it's a clear result of climbing that weight, right? You have to, he's not used to, I don't think he walks around at anything past 180, and to fight at 175, which is the light heavyweight, weight.
75 is light heavyweight.
Yeah.
In boxing.
So to fight at that, you have to be in that shape, carrying that much weight. And he started off as a junior welterweight, 140, 145. So he's climbed
but he started off at
significant-
15 years old.
Yeah.
Make sure that things are a little bit closer.
It's big. I mean, that's some big boys you have to fight at that weight, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Compared to what
definitely.
he's used to, yeah.
Yeah. So when he fought Bivol, though, Bivol was like, I'm actually 175. He goes, I probably come in at 180. And Canelo, I think they said weighed heavier than him on that night of the fight. So Canelo's a big boy. He's thick.
Yeah.
He's really big. So it does benefit you as a fighter to not have to drain yourself to make a weight because you're not weakening yourself. You can kind of just stay comfortable where you're at. So We'll
Unless
see.
you're Kazmat, but
Did you see that? I guess they're saying he had an injured foot the whole time.
Ooh.
Cosma.
I didn't see that.
So there's been a lot of like videos surfacing of his right foot wrapped.
Really?
And then that time when he was supposed to fight Paulo Costa, that when they're arguing in the gym, and you see him walking down the stairs, and he has like this huge limp every time he goes on his right side. So they're saying that's probably why he did that thing at the other fight. But that's the same right foot that he kicked Holland with backstage. So
Maybe instincts, you know, even though you know it's hurt, that's what you're used to doing. So
yeah,
True.
And then one thing about Canelo is he did say his left hand has been hurt in the last 2 years, year and a half.
well, he's fought to his defense, if that's what you want to say. He has fought, 3 times in the last year,
I think he fought 4 times in 1 year. So he's
and they were all champions.
yeah. So he's
That's tough.
Yep.
I love that throwback style. I love that fighting multiple times a year. These days, especially, I think the Floyd Mayweather effect, which he has a lot of effects that I'm not happy with. One of them is fighting twice a year. I guess that might be better for the fighter as far as like brain damage.
Well, health and yeah. I can see that.
But
I can see how fans appreciate the latter though. Like Kevin Holland actually fought 5 times in UFC. That was like one of the I think that's like he tied for the most in history. Like 5 wins in 2020.
yeah, most wins in a year.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a lot, man. 5 fights in 1 year.
Yeah,
Fuck yeah, man.
but
like
you
every
got to
other
remember
month.
Sugar Ray Robinson, right? Who's considered the best fighter of all time.
Oh, he was great, man. Yeah.
He used to fight like every weekend. So when he lost to Jake LaMotta from Raging Bull, he fought him again the next weekend and beat him. Like they would fight every weekend. Like
Just built different, huh?
I don't know me, but then
or once a month, every 2 months. Julio Cesar Chavez, he what was he like 82-0 or something like that, 79-0, somewhere around there.
Who's your number 1 boxer? Like
Of all time,
or
Lomachenko.
Mount Rushmore.
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
This is based on who I enjoy seeing the most and not who I think is the actual best. Because even though they do coincide a little bit, because you just like exciting fighters sometimes. Sometimes you just want to see some great shit in there. So my favorite fighter of all time is Lomachenko.
Okay.
Vasily Lomachenko is the GOAT to me. I've never seen anyone move the way he does.
superior skills.
And he's not at that weight. He's fighting the weight class above. So he's doing what, like basically Canelo's trying to do at light heavyweight. He's naturally a 126 fighter.
Okay.
He's fighting at 135 against monsters. So him, these are the only fighters that I've watched. Tyson, Roy Jones Jr. might be the greatest of all time, period.
Yep.
You guys don't have Mayweather up there, huh?
I would say Mayweather's top 5. Just who I enjoy watching.
Yeah.
I don't think I've probably watched every Mayweather fight, and just because he's so smart,
Yeah.
right?
Oh,
Exactly.
definitely tactician.
Yes.
Right? You just see like the little things that he does that are just like
His adjustments,
his adjustments,
his speed, defense.
My favorite thing is defense.
It's more
in
than
boxing.
meets the eye.
Me
The
too.
average. If you're not a boxing connoisseur or a real, fight scene type of guy or type of fan, if you want to just see a fast knockout or flashiness, and that meets the common eye, then you're just like a casual. Is that what they say? If you're just a boxing casual fan, you don't really probably have him in your Mount Rushmore because you can't appreciate this level of skill that he actually exudes. But he's definitely up there, man.
I agree.
Yeah,
Definitely up there.
yeah, one of the greatest. I mean, he's arguably the greatest, but I don't think so because Roy Jones Jr. again.
He had a better record before he lost, right?
Yeah, he went from 154, won a title at every weight class except cruiserweight, and went to heavyweight. So he went from 154 to 200 plus.
Damn.
Won a title,
That's crazy.
which is nuts.
I was risking it all in there. Like he'd be winning the whole fight and then come out with his hands down.
Yeah.
And really make a mockery and a foolery of you.
Flashy. He had the power.
Yeah.
He had the actual skill. A lot of people just base it off his athleticism.
Yeah.
But I mean, he beat Bernard Hopkins in one hand. So it can't just be your athleticism, right? He was very intelligent.
Yeah, he's a GOAT for
He
sure,
would do little things, like the Canelo thing where Canelo hit Callum Smith in the arm.
Oh yeah.
Roy Jones Jr. was fighting this guy. I remember watching this fight, and the guy's defense was good. He kept coming up. So instead of every time he tried to jab, the guy's hands would go up. So he started just jabbing his shoulder. They had to stop the fight like 10th round because the guy couldn't lift his arm anymore.
Damn, that's
right?
crazy.
He's just punishing his arm so bad where the guy couldn't even do anything with it. And it's just amazing. Just a spectacular person to see.
Wow.
That's mine, I guess.
Okay.
Certainly. I think personally, Salvador Sanchez is a Mexican fighter. I think he's arguably the best Mexican fighter ever. I just he passed away quite short.
Is that the one that died when he was
In a car crash?
Yeah.
So he just very fast, great superior defense. My dad put me on to him at a young age.
Okay.
Died at like 23 in a car crash. He was champion, I think, at 18.
Wow.
Yeah.
18, 19.
Damn.
And he was whooping ass and he died in a motorcycle accident.
Yeah, something like that.
Rest in peace, man. That's crazy, man.
High speed, high velocity. So him, maybe I'm biased, I don't know. Him, Roy Jones as well, Tyson,
Yeah.
Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, and I think I put Loma in there too. I haven't seen anyone who really exploits you the way that he does. Granted, he lost to Teofimo, but if you go back and you watch that fight, once he actually started jabbing, started throwing, and started fighting, he took control of that fight, with the exception to the 12th round.
Yeah.
But 6th going on,
Yeah.
he definitely
6-5. He dominated.
beat the shit out of Teofimo.
It looked like he would have got him out in the 11th round too. It looked like he was wobbly a little bit. And then, of course, my two favorite that I forgot to mention, and it's really hard to do four, right? Juan Manuel Marquez.
Oh, okay.
He's just
respect for sure.
amazing. And then, of course, the GOAT, the greatest Mexican of all time, Julio Cesar Chavez. I've never seen anything like when he was champion.
Yeah.
Anything. I remember I was a kid. We were at this apartment at my Nino's house. One person ordered the fight at the apartment building. The whole apartment building.
That's how it was back in the day.
Yeah, everyone went and watched the fight.
Luck.
I was sitting on the stairs, staring through the window, watching the fight through there. And it was like the best seat in the house. It was perfect. Amazing. Again, one of the most exciting fighters ever. And just to see the culture get up for it. I mean, De La Hoya was great too in his time.
Oh, yeah. For sure.
He always fought the best. That's one thing you always can give it to him.
Yeah.
What about you? What do you like?
I like Tyson. I like Floyd, Sugar Ray, and
Robinson or Leonard? Because I love Leonard. Leonard's nice. Because that's more someone that we probably watched when we were younger.
Yeah, and Chavez, I'd say. Yeah. Just because I kind of grew up watching him too.
Yeah.
Pacquiao has to be top 5 though. He'd be in like
Pacquiao is great.
Pacquiao's another honorable mention, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great. I mean, truth is, we're such big fans that to tell us to pick our favorite four is really
tough, man.
Yeah, it's really hard because it depends on what generation, how old were you at the time.
Subjective too. Like, what are you defining? You know, like what are you trying to say?
Yeah.
You know? So.
Speaking of the GOAT, Lomachenko, there's this fighter right now, Jesse Bam Rodriguez. He was a co-main event for the Canelo Triple G fight. I call him the baby GOAT.
Tough fight for him though.
Yeah, it was a tough fight. He's only 20. He's only 22.
Wow.
And he's basically killing it right now.
Okay.
He's a 108 fighter. Last second he fought a 115 guy who was a champion.
Wow.
Beat him.
That's a good amount of weight.
Yeah, it's a climb for sure.
It was like a week or two before notice because his fight, the guy's fight, his opponent dropped out.
All you have to do is eat bigger dinners and make it weight for a week.
Well, that's what Triple G said. Like, oh, how do you like making 168 now? Yeah. He goes, oh, it's fine. I can eat more tacos now. You know, it's just like I don't have to. Yeah, you know. Fix the mic. And then, sorry. But anyhow, check this guy out, Bam Rodriguez. He's the next up.
Bam Rodriguez. Okay.
He's from San Antonio.
He's the next King Ryan or what? No, I'm just messing with you.
I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, Ryan is like, whether we like it or not, he's good.
He's skilled. I think he has some lapses in his game. I think he has to work his defense a lot more than he has been tested.
Yeah, he's undefeated so right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's undefeated, but
so is the other dude that they kind of what's his name? Tank.
Tank's undefeated.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Tank's a fucking monster, bro.
Yeah. Right.
I think Tank might eat him alive, but however, just body frame and what Ryan has in his tool set that can't be changed is his length and his speed. So if he's able to keep Tank on, at bay, really, ring generalship like we were talking about, really control and make Tank fight from the outside with his jab, he has all the tools to win. It might be a boring fight, but he can win that way. However, I think Ryan's ego gets in the way. He wants to land the big left hook, maybe even an overhand right that's going to open him up, kind of like opened up Rollies to get knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
And I see that fight ending kind of like all the Tank fights where kids might have success, fighters might have success, jabbing it out, kind of running, hopping on that bike. But Tank will be Tank, and his fucking power will fucking carry throughout the entirety of the fight.
That'll be the next one of the next mega fights if it does happen, right?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. That'll be big. So they actually announced the Crawford versus. Oh, they didn't announce it. They said both parties, Crawford and Spence, agreed to the terms. Fight. But their
lawyers are fixing vocabulary within the contract,
whatever that means, right?
Well, yeah.
But it sounds like a pretty good thing, like a pretty good contract.
The biggest fight in boxing right now.
Both fighters have a right to a rematch if they want.
Oh, okay.
There's a rematch clause for both.
Yeah, whoever wins the first fight gets a higher purse the second fight. But there's stuff that they always argue about that it's like, whose name is first on the poster? Spencer Crawford.
I know.
Who
when
walks
you
out
mentioned that,
first?
that's like the whole Mayweather-Pacquiao thing.
Yeah.
Like, it was all those, like, crossing the T's.
Those little nuances that...
Yeah. Who walks out first? Who gets announced first?
Yes.
Right? I think for Mayweather Pacquiao, someone came out first, the other one got announced first. Like, there's just so many things. I mean, the ego's in there, but you're also playing that's like round one of the real fight, right? You're like, who's going to get what?
Yeah.
Right? Who's going to give up? Okay, I got you. You gave up
who's
this
more
one.
flustered at what they can and cannot get, and yada, 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 all those mind games, But just shut the fuck up and fight, man.
For real.
Honestly.
Yeah, I was thinking, remember that Mega Millions last month? The one you make like $1 billion?
Oh, yeah.
And you get home, you take home like 3-4, which is still a lot, though. You can't complain.
Yeah. I mean, and exactly.
Yeah.
But I was like, well, if I made that, I'll just become a boxing promoter. That's it.
Would you
I'm
really?
over it.
Honestly.
I just want to see all the good fights.
Offer all the top dollars.
Yeah. I'll invest like a good portion of it, and the rest just is going to go to my fund. Like, what do I want to see in life?
Yeah.
I'll be like one of those oil guys in Abu Dhabi. Just like, I want to fight over here.
Dude, I didn't know that Silva actually beat Chavez Jr.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
Oh, yeah, he beat the shit out of him, too.
I'm like, what? Who do you guys got for the Jake Paul fight?
So one thing about Silva is he threw like 150 punches around against Chavez. Like, it's ridiculous. And he's almost 40. No, he's almost 50. But he's a GOAT, period.
So if he takes the bag, he's in loose. Like, if they have those little things, like supposedly they had
or so whatever.
During the Woodley first fight, I guess there was a no knockout clause. Like, he couldn't knock out Jake Paul, but Jake could knock him out or yada, yada.
Really?
Yeah, that's
Supposedly,
that's kind of what I heard. But so if there's any of that stuff against Anderson Silva
for the money,
I think Jake takes it. But if it's just a straight up skill for skill, go out there and fight each other, Anderson, if he does what he did against Chavez Jr., he's gonna put him away, man.
I was surprised that he won.
He'll stop him. TKO.
Yeah, I mean, Chavez Jr. was a lot better than we thought he was going to be. And then because we saw his potential and how good he actually was, he just became the biggest letdown in the last 20 years.
Ran with the narrative that was way too, I think, advanced for where his skill set actually was.
He had a great chin. He punched hard. And he can actually last the whole fight. Like, he had great cardio. And then he just
started partying.
Started partying. Stopped training. Started eating Cheerios in his
Probably
pink
girls
underwear.
and all, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Who knows?
I mean, that happened to his father too, but that didn't happen to his father till
he was
90 fights in.
So he was arguably the best.
Yeah. So, but they also say, in order to be a good fighter, a great fighter, you have to grow up from nothing. You have to know what it is to struggle because you're fighting to get out of the struggle.
Connor's a perfect example.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Because look at him now.
He was on food stamps, right?
Yeah, and he was hungry, man.
Yeah, or what is The Rock's thing called? $7
$7.
7 pounds.
$7.
Yeah.
Right, which is based on he only had $7 in his pocket. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you need that grit to create something great.
You need that rock bottom that I think you're trying to say Chavez didn't have because his dad was the GOAT when he was born.
Foundation just to like, I know what this feels like. I don't want to ever be down here again.
Yeah. And he never had that.
So it can be, it's like a blessing in disguise. You know what I mean? Like
a double-edged sword. Yeah. Like it's, your greatest advantage if you can have the other stuff, under control.
Yeah.
But he didn't. And this is his biggest vice.
Yeah. But what's crazy though? This has been bothering me a lot is, I don't think in the next 20 years.
Wow.
In 20 more years, that there will be the kids that come up in the NBA, only 10% of them will be regular kids, maybe even 5%.
What do you mean regular?
Were you saying like a sorority in the sense that it's a player's son?
Player's son. It has to be. They all have to come from money. Originally,
but that's kind of how the league is. The more you dig, every professional sport is kind of like that.
Yeah, but
it's who you know, really, right?
Yeah, but 20 years ago, it wasn't like that. Like you could still be a park baller and come up, skip to my Lou, those type of players. But now,
interesting.
Because now they're just playing so much more. LeBron's kids are traveling team the whole year. Like they're not playing any other sport. That's what happened with Klay Thompson. That's what happened with Steph Curry. Like these new GOATs are all kids of other sports players.
When you say that though, in my head, like going back to the example, it's like saying that they're not going to have that grit. You know what I mean? Like
but in basketball, it's different. They're not getting punched in the face.
Well, I mean, like MJ, like built like MJ or Kobe. You know what I mean? Like there's no one really.
Yeah, like but the major leagues have kind of always been a sororities and fraternities, and it's kind of been like that. Like the Bosa brothers and their father in in NFL. Shannon
the
Sharp
Mannings.
and Sterling Sharp, the Mannings.
That's a good point. I never really thought about that. Yeah,
but it's kind of like that. If you, their father was a top tier athlete, more than likely this investment in signing the son is going to pay out to some degree. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's going to be less. So I think now there's still a good percentage of people like regular kids. But I think in the future, it's going to be even like smaller.
Nearly impossible. Yeah.
Just more like
a freak of nature. Like
you either have to be a freak of nature or
derived from someone who's done it before.
Yeah. But I mean, in the U.S., it's not like that. The only ones that are coming like that still are the kids from overseas. Right?
Yeah.
But the ones over here, it's less and less likely. And that's what's bothering me about just sports. Or at least
things in general,
American
man.
Sports.
Things in general has become like that, where it really is who you know and not just flat out the fucking talent level that you have or the rawness that you have at doing what the fuck you're trying to do.
If you think about it, it's really like that in every profession, really.
Yeah.
Except fighting sports. So except MMA and boxing, it's still but it's still. At the end of the day, like he can get to a certain level, but
if he's losing fights, then he kind of
but he doesn't have the heart is not there because even if he loses, he's still a millionaire, right? Where these other kids, like if I don't win, I'm broke. My mom's not going to have a house. I'm not going to have food in the morning.
So you think Chavez Jr. would have been where he's at if it wasn't for his dad?
No. So one part is he made it there because of his name.
Okay, that's what I'm saying.
And he actually had all the.
But that's what you're arguing, right?
Yeah. That's what,
no, I'm arguing that in order to go beyond that, to be great or to even exceed in the league.
Okay, you didn't say that. You just said just be in the league.
Just to be in the league. Well, even...
So your argument, to be clear, is in order to be great, you have to have had no help? Is that what you're saying?
In fighting sports.
In fighting sports, okay.
In fighting sports. Because it's not no help. It's because everyone has help. It's like a community builds
come from someone who has their name etched in the sport already.
Yeah, it's like it's really difficult. Not that many kids have actually done it. I mean, as much as we don't want to admit, but Chavez is one of the biggest names ever in boxing that was a kid. Right now, you have Chris Eubanks and Nigel Benn. Yeah, they're doing okay.
They don't really live up to their fathers. Whereas, I think that's what you're saying. Stephen Curry's better than his dad.
Yeah.
Okay.
But boxing's a little bit.
I see what you're saying.
It's different. Not too many kids. Every kid who tried.
So in the fight game, if you derive from someone, it's more difficult to surpass your father or your uncle who did it first than if you played a conventional sport, a more conventional ball
Yeah, so like Mayweather, his family was still poor, right? Because they didn't. His uncle did much better. He won a couple championships.
He's pro, right? But yeah, he was. I got you. So it's all about the money, not really how well they did.
Yeah, because it's like once you lose, what are you going back to? If you lose and I still got a mansion I'm living in, like Chavez Jr. is rich till he dies, just off his dad's name, right?
Yeah.
His royalty. He can go into any restaurant anywhere, but because he's the Prince of Mexico, basically, right? He can go anywhere he wants. Where there's certain people, if they lose, it's like their life's over. They have to win. They know nothing else but to win.
I see what you're saying.
Okay.
So it's different. I mean, basketball, just go dunk it. It's different. I don't know. My opinion. What do I know? I can't play ball or box. Just kidding. I could dunk.
You can do those things if you're doing them well, you know.
Yeah.
So your future son does have a chance. What you're saying? Boxing.
This is kind of funny. A little quick side note. My wife loves fight sports. Every Friday, every Saturday. There's fighting today? Is there fighting today? She reminds me. Oh, who's fight? Oh, there's a fight today, right?
Was she disappointed that Triple G lost?
Oh yeah. We're driving over there and I go, what's your dream scenario? Triple G wins by knockout? She's like, yeah. And then also, Canelo's a cheat in her eyes, right? You can't get popped for steroids.
Yeah.
And not be a cheat.
So John Jones isn't the GOAT.
Well, so that's what they asked Nate Diaz this last week.
Yeah.
And what he said is like, he's talking about GOATs in the sport. And they asked about John Jones. He goes, no, he cheated. You can't be a GOAT if you cheated.
He's always said that though, even with Conor.
Yeah.
When they were fighting, he was like, dude, everyone in the sport pops or is like on steroids. Conor was like, oh, no, but I mean,
I don't know. Conor's also just like a freak athlete.
He's like an asterisk in the sport too.
Oh,
yeah.
Like not many have that kind of an upbringing in the sport and reach the mountaintop of success that he has.
Yeah.
In the fashion that which he has.
He's made the UFC what it is today, 100%.
Yeah, that's kind of how Dana was at his mercy for like 2016 through now, arguably.
I mean, still,
right?
he even when his last fight against Poirier was like the third highest MMA fight. I think him and Khabib is 1 and him and Poirier 3 is 2.
That's all him.
Right,
basically.
so he can fight next year against Nate Diaz again, and it'll still be the highest.
They need to do that trilogy, man.
Oh yeah.
I think they will.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I want to say, so my wife loves fight sports. However, I'm like, our kid's gonna fight. She's like, no, they're not. How? How
do you love this so much and you can't?
Yeah, like how are they not gonna want to fight if every Saturday they see how excited you are to watch it and you're their favorite person in the world and they want to make you happy, right? That's what they're gonna want to do. I mean, De La Hoya is notorious for his mom being his biggest fan and everything he did was for her.
Yeah.
Right. Same with Mayweather. His mom is everything, and she always pushed him on top of it. So there's always that. And then my family, there's a lot of boxing history within the family, right? So
like Golden Gloves or what? Like, what do you guys?
It's just always been around the family. So like my dad's acquaintances with like Robert Garcia, and he messages him, like they talk here and there. So it's stuff like that, right? So he goes to the gym whenever he wants and hangs out there and sees the fighters. So he's like, oh, we'll take him over to Robert Garcia's gym and don't worry about it. She doesn't have to know. Like, I think it's the same way like in playing football. You don't want to see your kid get hit in the head.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
So
how do you feel about it, honestly? Would you want your kid to be in boxing?
I think I want him to learn every sort of martial art. Now, would I want him to learn boxing? Of course, it's my favorite sport. But at the same time, I want him to play basketball, You have to play baseball. Every kid has to play baseball at least like 3 years.
Why?
Unfortunately, you have to.
Is safety got it?
Eye-hand coordination. You got to be able to catch. You got to be able to throw. That goes to every other sport, right? So you got to be able to catch a football. You got to be able to throw a football. What's the puncher at 155? UFC. What's his name? The guy that wears glasses, but then when he fights, he's all crazy.
Tony Ferguson? What do you mean?
No.
Yeah, I was thinking Tony Ferguson.
No. The guy he's ranked, it's him and Portier. They're like number 2 and 3.
Gaethje.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Gaethje,
so Gaethje, all he did was like wrestle growing up, and he played sports. And they go, was it hard to learn to kick and punch? He goes, No, I played football. I was the punter. I kicked all the time. So kicking to me is
doing
easy.
other sports translates to what you might end up doing.
I pitched.
Yeah.
My right hand is pitching.
Yeah.
So that baseball carries over.
Okay.
Like a lot of sports carry over. You have to be good at everything. Steve Nash played soccer.
Yeah.
Some of the best footwork in basketball you've ever seen in your life.
Yeah, for sure.
So you need, it's very important to do that. Lomachenko.
Tap dance.
Yeah, his dad put him in. His dad had him boxing young. He also did jiu-jitsu. When he was like 10, his dad took him out of boxing for 2 years, made him learn Ukrainian traditional dance to learn footwork. And then now you're ready. Come back.
No kidding. He has some of the best.
And he might have the best footwork or some of the best footwork of all time in boxing. Right?
Yeah,
so
makes sense.
So you need all that. Terrell Davis, his parents put him in ballet so he can learn how to keep his balance. Became one of the best running backs of all time. Mm-hmm. Right. So there's always importance to mix things up.
I can see that. Yeah.
So that's my opinion. I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see what you're saying. I don't know that you need to put your kid in baseball to do all those things. Not shading on baseball for you baseball enthusiasts and connoisseurs, don't come at me. I'm just saying, I think, for instance, hand-eye coordination, all that other stuff, you can get through more basic things like swimming.
And for those who don't know,
but you need to
hand-eye
catch a
coordination. Yeah, but I'm saying, but like just like the basic fundamentals of movement. I think first. So I commend Kobe and what's his wife's name? Vanessa. Sorry. Yeah. Kobe and Vanessa, all their kids had learned how to swim, I think at age 2 or by age 2.
Wow.
So I learned how to swim at like 3 or 4. So I wouldn't consider myself the greatest athlete, but I think my foundation is pretty good enough to partake and be at least satisfactory at most sports.
I don't know, man. I don't think swimming transfers over. I'm just saying because you don't have to catch anything, you don't have to throw anything. You don't have to kick anything. You paddle your legs. I know a lot of Trevor Ariza, Manny Pacquiao's strength and conditioning coach.
Trevor Ariza?
Trevor Ariza?
Who are you talking about?
Alex Ariza?
Who the fuck are you talking about?
Manny Pacquiao's strength and conditioning coach. Okay. Alex Ariza.
I think he said it was Trevor Ariza, the basketball player.
No, I think it's Alex Ariza.
Okay.
And one of the things that he did great for his fighters, and everyone talks about it, is he made them swim. That's part of the thing. That's part of your strength and conditioning, because you have to learn how to get tired and not be able to breathe and exhaust yourself. And Chavez Jr. talked about it. Pacquiao talked about it. That itself, they all say, was key to when they were doing great. Because it allows you to learn how to give it your all when you can't breathe anymore.
Rise above.
And that's what boxing is. You can't breathe anymore, right? So.
Yeah, people don't take into account like literally every move in the boxing ring or any combat sport, whatever it is that you're in, a cage or a fucking ring. Every move in there, it really like takes a toll on your energy level. Take a certain jab, even if you're jabbing with power or just to place
and missing a punch
just
too.
In general, it's nuts, man. I think the most conditioned athletes in the world are combat fighters. Everybody.
GSP, George St. Pierre.
Yeah.
He said when he fought BJ Penn the first time, he said BJ Penn had the fastest reactive time. He goes, I would watch the fights in slow-mo and we would time it. And this is how I learned all my fighters. Wow. I watch all the fights in slow-mo, so I learned the reaction time and everything. He had the fastest reaction time of any fighter he's ever fought.
He kind of knew what to look for after studying.
So he said, so when he did the second fight, he just did a lot of feints. Made him react to something that wasn't happening. Just by feigning and him reacting, he got tired. So the second half of the fight, he was able to dominate him because he tired out. Because he
chess, not checkers, right?
Yeah, exactly.
For sure, dude. That's crazy.
So even that little reaction that in that moment may not seem so consequential. Oh fuck yeah, it is.
The compound effect.
2-3 rounds down the road.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. For sure.
So one of my favorite fighters, Adrian Broner, he pulled out of his fight last month. Adrian Broner, if you don't know, was the second coming, the fastest fighter to ever win titles in 4 weight classes. The youngest fighter to ever win titles in 4 weight classes, 130, 135, 140, 147. Then he lost to Maidana. He's never been the same ever since, although he's still very talented. And he pulled out saying it was mental health.
Mm-hmm.
Same reason why Ryan Garcia pulled out a couple fights and everyone's saying, "Oh, he's soft." Right? How do we feel about fighters pulling out of fights due to mental health?
You want the Andrew Tate answer, or? No,
I think it's acceptable, man. To be honest, I think that for too long, mental health in general has been something that's kind of been swept under the rug. And I think especially for a combat sports athlete, it's like you're literally going out there and you're fighting not to the death in that regard, but you could die in 100%,
there.
Yeah. So I think if there is a sport that you need your mind to be as sharp as possible, and you had to make an argument has to be more sharp in this sport than the next, it has to be combat sports. Any one of them.
Yeah, consequences are deadly.
Yeah, because the consequences are. You're not gonna, you're not gonna die if you're dealing with some stuff and you're playing basketball. Your chances of dying on the court are far less than you dying.
You may get some death threats, but
yeah,
you won't.
yeah. If you're LeBron or something like that, or you might
Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
Nah,
Tristan Thompson. But
he's scoring, man. Tristan Thompson's balling right now. Oh, we meant in the sport. Oh, got you. Because he's scoring like a motherfucker right now.
No, but definitely, I think I have compassion for those athletes. Because you don't win or lose when you're an athlete that is covered widely throughout the sport. With news broadcasts and all that stuff, you're the food of you are what's being talked about the next day after you do anything, whether you had a open media workout or you decided to tweet something. Your life is being talked about, let alone going in there and having to fight and yada, yada, yada. Like, people forget, man, like, even though I'm making millions doing what I'm doing, if I'm a fighter, bro, if you sock me hard enough, I'm in the cut, I'm in the bleed, I'm in the bruise, just like anyone else. I have emotions. I have, challenges that stop me or inhibit me from doing what I can do to the best of my ability. And I have the utmost respect and compassion for someone who feels that isn't there mentally and needs to take a break. Like fuck you if you don't respect that.
Yeah.
I actually applaud and commend someone coming out and be like, you know what, I'm not right mentally, and I'm not finding the means to rise above this challenge in my life. I have to step away. Yeah. I think that's a bigger fight than the fight that we're gonna fight anyways, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now what's the Andrew Tate answer?
No, I think if you have any doubt, you know what I mean, going into a fight, you shouldn't be in the fight in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever the reason may be, I think some people can use that as fuel, have a chip on the shoulder, whatever you want to call it. Other people are not built like that. So everyone's different. So you have to respect. I mean, some people may not like it, but you have to respect how people deal with certain situations.
Yeah. So
certainly.
one thing Tyson talks about, which was taught to him by Gus D'Amato, was fear. Fear is a good thing. Fear makes you sharper, makes you wiser, makes you more alert. And you hear Tyson talk about it all the time. Fear is my favorite thing. I love fear because it makes me better.
Yeah.
And there's some people who they see the fear and the cloud is too big for them.
Yeah.
They can't do it. They can't see beyond it, unfortunately. And I mean, whatever it is, I think it's just important to develop the right tools to deal with that. Hopefully at an early age, but sometimes someone like a Ryan Garcia got thrown into the spotlight when he was 18 years old, set at 19 years old, most popular, the biggest Instagram follower of any other fighter right now. And
is he really?
Yeah. And he hasn't really proved him. Like, he's been proving himself little by little.
They call him like a YouTube fighter or
but he
Instagram fighter.
He had the biggest following before he even proved himself. You know? So it's.
I mean, people are going to be hating him because, I mean, he sells fights though, right?
Yeah, he sells fights.
I mean,
he's a crossover star, and that's what everyone's trying to be, and not everyone can be, right?
Yeah.
That kid Bam Rodriguez, he had a Reddit AMA last week before the fight, and I was reading it, and one of the questions was like, how does it feel to be a champion and people don't know who you are? And he goes, it's strange because I could walk in my own town of San Antonio, I'm the champion of the world, and I never get recognized.
Maybe you should walk with King Ryan.
King Ryan? Maybe. All right, so let's get to some. We do have some music today.
Let's talk about it.
Anything else you want to add, gorgeous man?
Yeah, just looking forward to the MMA fight.
Islam.
Oh, yeah.
Oliveira.
Yeah, Oliveira. That's gonna be a good fight, man.
Islam is the new boogeyman, and
Who do you guys got?
over.
Real quick before we move on, we don't have to stay on it too long. Me too. I want Oliveira to win, but I think it's gonna be a great fight.
Is your question? Who do I want to win? Who do I think is gonna win? Is who do I want and who do I think is?
Who
both?
do you think is gonna win?
Islam, I think, is gonna win, and I want to win.
Okay.
Because my favorite UFC fighter is Khabib.
So baby Khabib.
So I kind of feel like this is like
Khabib's in his corner.
the resurrection of
You know what I mean?
kind of pushing it forward, pushing that culture, that background, that same kind of attitude to the fight. They're from Dagestan. They're practically family.
Everyone's from Dagestan
I think
now.
Islam's gonna get a little surprised by Oliveira's power, because even Gaethje said like no one's ever hit him like that before.
Yeah.
And he's a slugger. You know what I mean? He took his hit, like his greatest hit.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he can grapple. I mean, he's that from that Brazilian jiu-jitsu type thing. He's really good.
He's like a freaking anaconda, dude. Like he's like
so long.
Just wrap, yeah.
Yeah, but Islam does that great thing that Khabib does, where they wrap when they wrestle. They trap your legs in there.
They trap your legs and you can't move your legs, so everything is like
it's the ultimate battle between Sambo and because that's what it's called, right?
It's pretty much
Russian,
what it is.
Russian,
Sambo,
Russian wrestling,
Dagestani, Russian,
and Brazilian jiu-jitsu, bro. It's gonna.
Yeah. Well, if they basically they're both probably top tier, both of them, so that equals each other out. So then it's going to end up in a stand up.
But I think,
and Oliveira takes a stand up.
You think? Okay.
I just think Islam performs, his martial art background at a tier not so far from Khabib. Don't come at me. I'm not saying he's Khabib level just yet.
Yeah.
But I think he definitely has the intangibles, and given that his mentor is Khabib, spends a lot of time with him, I feel that the Sambo style has not been figured out yet.
Yeah.
Kind of like in the NFL, the RPO stuff and all that, read pass option. People had a lot of trouble figuring out Kaepernick and that years of the Niners back then.
Or Tim Tebow.
But it took a little while, and then they found it out, and then stat stuff begins to be less effective, right?
Yeah.
I think worse with the Sambo style wrestling.
It's a new
in the UFC. It's still relatively new, and people just don't have that many answers to it. And I think that's where we're at with it. I think that because of that, and because of the skill set and the level that Islam is performing at, I think that we're going to see that be a direct cause for success for him.
All right.
Yeah. Good answer.
Yeah.
Good answer. We'll see what happens.
Yeah. That'd be a great fight no matter what.
You heard it here first.
No matter what, it's going to be a great fight.
Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be really enjoyable. I'm going to watch it. It's 12 in the afternoon. Everyone remember, wake up
I
early.
hope for a good
I didn't
one.
know that shit. Okay.
Yeah, because it's in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's
they're
after
playing over there.
It's a barbecue. It's Saturday afternoon barbecue,
Okay.
By the time the fight's over, it's going to be like 5 o'clock. It's going to be early.
Oh, like it starts at 12. Something
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
4. Oh, yeah, around 5.
Yeah.
Man, okay.
So it'll be good. All right, let's get into music.
Let's do it.
All right, so everyone's new favorite DJ, Fred again. Okay, my favorite DJ, Fred again, dropped Danielle. Do you say featuring
Can you play it real quick?
070 Shake?
Oh, this is it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, so basically he took a Shake song and redid it.
I say you do say featuring because it's being featured whether you're cognizant of it or not, right? Like whether 070 Shake it understands or signed off on it or whatever, it's being featured. So I say you say fuck it and featuring.
Yeah, I like it. It's not my favorite Fred again song, but I really enjoy it.
What vibe does it give you?
Just excitement.
Okay.
Excitement.
Okay.
He doesn't like drop it and build it as much as like other songs.
Kind of like a housey. Like,
but it's kind of like here most of the song, but it's nice. I fuck with it. Still give it 3.5. It's not like the other ones.
Yeah.
To me, but I like it. I enjoy it, and it's two of my favorite artists put together: Shake and Fred again.
But I think that speaks to Fred again's. I'm on that boat too. That Fred again is definitely one. I kind of stepped away from house and EDM and all that good stuff in general, but I come from a background of like from like 2013 to 2018, I didn't miss a beat. I saw this guy more times at raves than I would in between. Real life. So that just goes to show how many raves I was going to. But so I kind of have stepped away because things have just seemed like the molds just kind of just merged. Like everyone was so similar to me. Whereas Fred again, you know, is kind of, he's bringing this element of like, I think he's very intentional with if there's vocals in his music, he's very intentional with what is on there lyrically. And that speaks to his fucking genius to me, is that 070 Shake is not someone that is out there just saying bullshit. I think that everything is intentional and kind of like a Drake, like Fred again has a fucking ear for what people like right now, what's popping right now, the messages and the sound and what putting it all together evokes out of the listeners. And yeah, this song isn't the greatest fucking song, but if you put this song in the right set at the right time of that set, this shit's a fucking banger. You know, so that speaks to his genius, and that's where I'm at with Fred. Anything that Fred does right now is liquid gold.
Okay.
What do you think? All right.
Of him or the song?
The song. I mean, you're barely hearing it now.
I'll give it soft 3 right now. Maybe some more listens for sure.
Yeah.
I'll give it a soft 3 right now.
All right, so I have another song I want to talk about just because it's interesting to me, and I know there's been some drama with Tokisha and Madonna, and not drama between them, but people were saying with them kissing and all this.
There you go again, man.
All right, cut. 2 girls kissing is great though.
It's an amazing thing, man. Come on.
Yeah, it has to be equal on both sides. You guys think it's great on the other side of the spectrum too?
Anyhow, so Tokisha and Madonna. Tokisha's on fire right now. Yeah.
Oh, this is dope.
Yeah, you can't not move to this shit.
This is sick.
Whether you understand what's being said or not, you know, because there is some Spanish in there, right? There's some Spanish in there, but you got to just move, man.
This is dope.
When you hear this song.
Yeah, and then they took the old Madonna, Hung Up on You, and then they put it together.
Sped it up a bit.
Yeah, and they put the Caribbean beats on there.
Yeah.
No. She's fire. Tokisha's on fire right now. She hasn't been missing much lately. I'm really excited for her next project. That's how much she's been doing lately. And I'm not a huge Tokisha fan.
I'm not even gonna lie and say that I even know. First time I came across is when you told me to listen to it.
This one?
yeah, just any of it. But no, I definitely, if this artist is anything like what this song, you know, brought me to, it definitely is.
She's on Rosalia's last album. I think it's the something Versace. I forget the name of
it.
Oh,
okay.
But she's dope. I really like her style. Again, I'm not a huge fan of hers, but she's killing it right now. So you always got to respect that.
Yeah, no, for sure.
All right, so there's this group coming out of the Bay right now, called AG Club, and these motherfuckers. The last year or two, they've had so many just bangers that I throw on my workout playlist. It's just so much like the beats, the bass. They have the song with ASAP Ferg they dropped last year. They just keep going. And when I heard this one, they dropped the whole album. The album's okay. There's a lot of variety on it, but this song specifically, it's just fire. Bro.
Is it just me or one of them kind of gave like at least on this track, like a Twista type vibe, like in like the first.
So it's the same rapper. So one basically raps, one basically sings.
The one who's rapping, the first verse kind of gave me some like Twista.
Jody Fontaine.
Okay.
He actually gives me an ASAP Rocky vibe, the way he's like rapping, and he got those dreads too. But they're coming up, you know. Like as far as they're like one of those like Camp Flognaw type crowds, and you hear that shit.
Yeah, I definitely like the instrumentals.
Yeah,
and then I think the overall message of the song. At first, I didn't know because the song is called what? Don't ask, don't tell. I didn't know if it was like that war campaign a couple years like Hillary Clinton.
Don't ask, don't tell.
You don't if you're heterosexual or homosexual in in the military, you don't have to say if you don't. You know what I'm saying? You don't get investigated if you don't say. Or I thought that's kind of what the message. I thought that's what the message of the song was gonna be. You know, I have no knowledge of who this group is or anything like that. So, you know, sorry about that. But I think what I took away from, you know, I wrote it down here was that stood out to me is like, it's don't ask, don't tell. Like, it's nothing. I am who I am. There's no discussion.
Yeah.
You know, like that definitely resonates with me. And it's said at the end, like as it's like fading. Mm-hmm. So that kind of was cool too. Like, end of discussion, motherfucker. Like, I am who I am. I know what my intentions are. And if that doesn't sit right with you, I'm not even going to try to waste my breath and explain myself to you. I don't need to. That's your shit. And that's kind of what I felt the entirety of the track is actually about. Yeah. Maybe I'm wrong. And you know, subscribe, like, comment, talk shit about my assessment. But that's what I think I took from it, and I fuck with it 1,000%. While you are in alignment with yourself, you understand what your intentions are, and you don't mean any malice by what you're doing. You can be who you say you are, unapologetically. You should be who you are. Yeah. Unapologetically. A lot of 100%. Us aren't. Let's be honest. We you know, whether, you know, if we work in a certain industry and that certain industry has stereotypes as to what these people are supposed to operate like, or the fucking boxes that they're supposed to stay in, a lot of us fall into like, I gotta look like this, speak like this, sound like this, maybe even smell like this. I gotta eat like this. But nah, man. You know, I'm Mexican. Both my parents are Mexican, but I like speaking Spanish sometimes in like a Colombian accent. You know, I like speaking Spanish like the way a Puerto Rican might speak it. But that doesn't mean I'm not proud or that I am not Mexican. I am, you know. Obviously that's a weird parallel that I'm trying to make work. But, you know, I'm an extreme person, so there you have it. Yeah. And you are very... You unapologetically, motherfucker. And that's what I love. And that is what I love.
Yeah, it's bars for sure.
Bars. All right, let's go last song. Mr. Montell Fish. Dropped Hotel, which is surprising. I thought this was like a deluxe off his last album because he dropped an album 2 months ago. But it's not. It's its own thing, and it's the first time I've heard him with a lot of energy. I guess he always has like this like acoustic sound. And I'm still, you told me beforehand, sorry. It does have a little bit of Weekend vibes. I kind of feel the way that the music is rolling out and the way he's elongating some of the words. Yeah. It, you know, it like it kind of gives me that Abel vibe, you know? Yeah. That Weekend vibe. But where it gives me more of that vibe was as I listened to it longer, and I was telling Tony beforehand, is kind of like I get that. Like the parallel of like what he's talking about. Obviously he's talking about a girl or a partner of some sort. But what I was telling him, it's like, you know, I think where Weekend does a lot too is like he talks about drugs a lot. I kind of felt like this, like what does it say? As soon as I walked into the hotel, I felt like lyrics, as much as they could be literal with the context. When I met you in that hotel room, I can tell that you were so bad news. Like, as much as like literally you can talk about a girl who might be bad news for you, figuratively, or, you know, just attaching other things to it, it's kind of like any addiction or any vice in your life. Like, that's true. You know, drugs for instance. Like, you know, I know this cocaine is bad for me. It's gonna make me feel shitty or whatever in the future. It might harm what I'm gonna do in the next couple of hours. But fuck it, the rush that it gives me, the level of oomph that it takes me to, is enough. It's enticing enough to say fuck the negatives. Yeah. Fuck the repercussions or the consequences, you know? Yeah. So that I definitely see that parallel with a Weekend track too. So.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't get that the first listen, but after he said that, I was like, oh, I hear that. Like, I think you're just spot on. That makes me think like maybe he wasn't talking about a girl. Although a girl can be a drug, right? Yeah.
So, you have to look at the lyrics. There's maybe some in between the lines type thing.
Yeah.
Kind of like, you really like this girl and you hit it off, man. Like conversations were just flowing out of you, flowing out of her, but you start seeing these red flags. But you're not able to unsee this. You're not able to take into account these red flags at a certain magnitude that logically, if you followed logic after taking this in, should tell you remove yourself.
Yeah.
Like, baby girl, I love you, or whatever. It's not you, it's me. Whatever the fuck you got to do. But the answer is to remove yourself from this thing, because it's not going to serve you in the long run.
Yeah.
But I think this is about chasing nothing in the long run. It's about chasing the immediate satisfaction.
And chasing the high right now.
It's not even the thing you're doing. It's not the cocaine, or it's not the vice. It's not the gambling. It's the fucking what it feels like taking your money out to go gamble. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I think that's great. I didn't have to follow up for that. So
yeah, that was great.
Yeah, he killed it.
We're gonna clip that.
Fuck
for
with
sure.
me, baby. Fuck with me.
All right, baby. First of all, I want to say it's been a pleasure having you here with us.
That was fire.
Yeah. We need some more box talk. We need some more fight talk. It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I enjoyed it a lot. Anything else you want to add or say before we go?
Just wanted to say thank you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in. You guys are like family. Thank you for having me on here, guys.
Yeah, it won't be the last time. That's for sure.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't follow me on social media, I believe it's what is it? Raulito _Ochoa.
We'll tag it on the
something.
on the post.
Look out for whatever they say. But they call me Mr. Get It Done. You need anything to do with clothing manufacturing, production services. Go ahead and follow the Instagram. My business page is Hellstar Studios. Again, anything screen printing, direct to garment. You need to go ahead and make a custom cut and sew clothing. I'm your man. Yep. And if you guys enjoyed what you heard, you'll be hearing a lot more from me.
100%.
Thanks, guys.
With that said, hose up.
Hey.
Hose up.